All right, we're back again with some Q's to A, and if you want your Q in my mouth giving you back my A, drop that down below. And with full certainty that that last statement couldn't be misconstrued, let's get into them. Now, this one comes from John Rochner, I hope I got that name right. And he asks, so did Rode name it the NT1 to make Rode NT1? Or Rodent 1. And thank you, John. I appreciate the insight. And to be honest, I'm a tad disappointed in myself that I didn't see this already. Of course, we do already have the unfortunate naming of several different pieces of gear, like the Zoom Late, or even my most recent review of the Zoom Hate. And we cannot forget my absolute favorite, the SE Electronics X1S, or the Sex 1S. But this one might be a bit too cerebral for my tiny reviewer brain to pick up on, so I do appreciate the assist. There is further information about this that came from a further comment as well. Nate Nikeo said, there's an unsubstantiated rumor that Friedman Electronics' original condenser microphone sales were described as having taken off like a rat up a drain pipe, leading them to name the microphone the Rodent 1. They later rebranded their company as Rode and renamed their condenser microphone the NT1. Now, the story isn't verified and resides in the realm of urban legend, but it somehow lives in Rode's Wikipedia entry. I do love that. And that's the kind of content I'm here for. Love that stuff and appreciate both of you for bringing it to my attention. And from henceforth, this mic shall ever be known as the Rodent 1. And next up, we got Heathcliff Blair. And he said, Adobe Audition cannot do 32-bit recording? Really? Yikes! I bet that changes. Thanks for that, Heathcliff. And yeah, up till now, a lot of programs, it hasn't been much of an issue, as gear that can produce 32-bit hasn't exactly been saturating the market. That said, there's a bit of misinformation here, and perhaps that's my fault from the Rode NT1 video. You see, most programs can record in 32-bit, they just can't register the information beyond 0 dB. And as you pointed out, I do believe this will be something rolling out with a lot of the DAWs that require the update, especially like Audition. That said, some DAWs, like Audition, that focus more on a broadcast style, may opt to not even bother, as broadcasters tend to record with a bunch of headroom already and just gain up in post. For the life of me, I can't remember the last time I peaked recording voice in Audition. When recording a music-based DAW like Studio One, it has come up more than often. So, make of that what you will. Dutch Bros is up next with their comment saying, I'm not sure why people like the TLM-102 more. I feel like the TLM-103 sounds more professional. Thanks for that, Dutch Bros. Oh, I'm confused by the term professional in this respect. And I do get this a lot, so I think I should clear the air here. With a lot of these higher end microphones, the sound coming out of the mic raw will rarely, if ever, be the same sound in post-production, meaning the raw sound of the microphone isn't what you can expect in the final product. Now, depending on taste or the sound you're capturing, both mics have respectable performances. And as it is with most microphones, well, it generally just comes down to taste. And honestly, I will say it again and again, there's not a single studio worse off owning something with the name Neumann on it. Next up, and before we get to our dumb statement of this episode, you don't want to miss that. Stay tuned. We have Steve Schnetzler and my cat walking down the stairs. Now he's eating. What a jerk. Steve had probably the best question of the week. Steve wants to know, how can I safely buy a used mic? What questions should I ask about its history, assuming I believe the guy anyway? Steve, this is an awesome question, and frankly, it's a tough one too. There is massive risk to buying any gear used, especially from a source you don't know. From friends, or at least someone you do know, it is much safer. But even from Amazon, when I bought a Rode NT1 that was refurbished, the mic was dead within 2 weeks. Now, no one's going to be perfectly honest about the abuse a piece of gear has seen, especially if there's more money in it for them. Not to mention, the greatest risk for buying secondhand are the rip-offs and the clones, and these aren't limited to just SM58s. One of the most popular mics to clone is the Sennheiser MKH416. U87s have their share as well, and honestly, some of the clones are very hard to point out until you put them side by side with a real one, or you open it up and compare the internals. So, my best advice is to only buy used gear from official resellers like Amazon or major chains that will take the product back if you find an issue like this. Otherwise, you're taking a huge chance, which isn't such a big deal when you waste $80 on a fake SM58, but I would think several times over before you buy anything more expensive. Okay, gotta do it. Dumb question of the week. This is more of a statement, and that person today is Super. And their contribution to the world was this: 18 seconds. I find it profoundly sad that in no corner of the modern world can you escape political commentary and getting whacked over the head with someone's political beliefs. I'm here for an audio interface overview. Silly me, I guess. Then they followed that up with, my bro couldn't even make it 20 seconds. Thank you for that, Super. I appreciate your heartfelt and raw commentary on my political agenda. And if you're wondering what propaganda I've been silently slinging at you, well, allow me to bear my sins to the nation here. Obama was only in the second year of his first term, still 5 years away from, well, yeah. That was for my comparison of the first gen Scarlet and the third gen, and let me just say this, and consider this the only time that I'm gonna let this crap get on my channel, because I don't bother with much like that here, and I do like to stay nonpartisan, though I do champion the odd harmless joke like the one I shared earlier. Now, regardless of how that joke made you feel, we're living in a wildly divisive world right now, and there are people being stripped of their rights as we speak. Diversity is being scorched. Gender and race are at the forefront of policies intended to restrict and oppress. And places in North America are banning books under the guise of protecting children. We're being thrust back into the very same religious state policies that allowed for women to be burned at the stake in witch trials. So forgive me if I don't shelter your fragile spirit by ever so slightly dunking on someone that has incited all of this through his presidency by being an ableist, racist, and frankly, every other ist in the book. And sometimes I'm going to use a small joke like that just to pin it up. And if it hasn't been clear enough, if you dislike a mild response to the rampant garbage that is spewing out of the mouths of people that are enacting these very policies and laws, get the fuck off my channel and go find another place to get your reviews. Your presence will absolutely not be missed. I hope that clears it up, Super. Thanks for the question, and as always, thanks for watching.